In this video, we're going to talk about area of parallelograms. If you look at your reference sheet, it's the third line down, and on the top of your worksheet, I would like you to write A equals BH, where B stands for the base, and H stands for the height. Alright, so before we get started with area, I want to just talk about a couple characteristics of parallelograms. So these are two pictures of how you're going to see parallelograms, alright? And a couple characteristics are, one, opposite sides are parallel. So that means that these two sides would be parallel. That also means that these two sides would be parallel, alright? And what parallel means is that if they went off forever and ever, so if they kept just moving up and up and up and up, they would never ever cross because they are the same slant, they are moving in the exact same direction. They would never cross each other. Second, opposite sides are congruent, which means that they are the same lengths or same dimensions. So if the top of this parallelogram here was 6, the bottom would also be 6. If the side was 7, this other side would also be 7. Alright, so just like a rectangle or a, I guess, kind of a square, the opposite sides are congruent. They're the same. So these are two ways you'll see parallelograms. One with the base at the bottom here. Second one is where the base might be at the side. And the way that you can tell which is the base and what is the height is it's always going to be connected by this right angle, which is a little hard to see in these examples because it's really light. But the height and the base are always connected by a right angle. So if we look at the first example, all right, first thing we need to do is we're working with a parallelogram, so you need to write A equals BH. Always write down the formula for everything. So there are only two dimensions or two measurements here which make this easier. However, I want to talk about what's going to be the base and what's going to be the height. So right here we see a right angle, right? And it kind of looks like a triangle and a parallelogram, but these dotted lines are just there to show you the height. So the height is 9.7 because that's how tall the parallelogram is, and the 10 is the base. And it's connected by this right angle. The height and the base both are connected by that right angle. So always look for that right angle. So we substitute it in. We get A equals base is 10, height is 9.7. We multiply it out. So A equals 97. And then we need units. All right, so M is the units. However, every time we're working with area, we units squared. So that is because we're doing meters times meters, and anything times itself is squaring it. Another way to think about it, if you don't remember that part, is we're working with two-dimensional shapes. So every time we find the area of a two-dimensional shape, we need to say squared. And the more you do it, the better you will get at remembering that. If we look at our next shape, all right, this one is kind of flipped around, and it almost looks like this should be the base because that's at the bottom. All right, however, again, we need to look for that right angle. And this one, again, is not too hard because there's only two measurements given to you. So first, we write the formula, A equals base times height. Now we need to find the base and the height. So 11.5 is the base, and 6 is the height. All right, again, connected by that right angle. And I'm going to say that a lot just to get it in your minds. So now we need to substitute in 11.5 for the base. So A equals 11.5. And then in parentheses, height is 6. And that just shows multiplication. That's how I would like you to do it every time. Put it in parentheses. So 11.5 times 6 is A equals 69 miles, mi, squared. Again, don't forget the squared. All right, so let's just do one more example that has a little bit more to it. So there's a lot more numbers here, which might make it a little bit more difficult. So first, again, A equals BH. I know it'll get repetitive, but the more you repeat it, the more you will memorize it. So we need to find the base and the height. So now we have 7.4 here, we have 5.7, we have 7.4, and we have 3.5. So we have a lot of numbers to work with. However, if you've been listening and remember me saying it, the base and the height are connected by that right angle every single time. So 5.7, we don't need it for this because we don't need a side. That's a side. All right. So the base is 7.4 and the height is 3.5. So I want you to substitute that into the formula. You should have written 7.4 times 3.5. Now I want you to multiply that out and write it with the units. So area equals 25.9 km squared. All right, looks like you are ready to work on your own. You need to finish the worksheet. You may go back and rewatch this as much as you need to. If you get confused, please go back and look at my examples. When you are done, you're going to check your answers. Mastery means all but one is correct. And then you can move on. All right, good luck. Have fun.